We have breaking news. This just in. We have limited edition t-shirts and hoodies available on the website, unofficiallounge.com. Get yours while they last. Everything's for sale. Like and subscribe. Now back to this episode.
The Unofficial Lounge with Ashante, Graybon, and Monty. We're here to give you the insight into some of the biggest plays you remember, involving the people wearing the stripes. We look at the grit it takes to become an official while exploring the history of officiating with the people who made it. It's more than black and white. On this episode, we've got Dean Blandino. Dean tells us what he's looking for in new replay officials.
We're looking for a skill set, right? We can teach you replay rules, we can teach you the mechanics and the process, but we're looking for that skill set. You know, are you analytical? Can you work through that process? Can you manage multiple inputs? Are you a good communicator?
When talking to Dean, he walks us through a way we can speed up these 3-hour college football games.
The more reviews we have during the game, the more we interrupt the flow of the game. And I really do think that we have to try to figure out a way to limit those stoppages. And one of the ways, and that's what the NFL did, is make it a coach's challenge system.
All right, since we last talked, when they gonna put you in the ring of honor at Hofstra?
I don't know. One time I looked up somebody asked me who the famous Hofstra alumni were. And I just Googled it and there was a list of names and I was on it. And then I did it again and I wasn't on it. So I wasn't happy. I was like, they added famous people and bumped me off the list? I don't know.
That mean you got to get that donation right. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That'll get you that varsity blues.
Yeah.
You had your kids out there on the rowing team.
Yep, right. Well, that's out here in California, right? That's I don't want to do what's her name, Lori Loughlin. I don't want to go on. Right. I'm not going down that route.
Just take a picture of your kids on a row machine and Photoshop it.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Yes. You're better off just paying for a building, right?
Right.
I crack up. Who was Dr. Dre? You know, hopefully he's getting better. But when he came in talking about his daughter got accepted to USC and he didn't have to do nothing, I was like, hold on, didn't you just donate like $250 million?
Exactly.
Right.
That's nothing, right?
No, but there's a right way and a wrong way. That's what that means.
Yeah.
I know you didn't take a picture of your kid on the soccer team, but I mean, $250 million is okay. Right. If that's nothing. All right. You ready, Monty?
Oh shit, we've been going.
Oh, which?
You guys want to scratch that part?
No, we're good. All right, everybody, welcome back to the second season of the Unofficial Lounge. We are joined again by the great Dean Blandino. We want to catch up with him, see how his off season is going, and how he dealt with COVID as everybody else going through the football season, dealing in the middle of a pandemic. So, welcome by everybody back to the second season of the Unofficial Lounge. And Dean, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be back.
Did you think this moment would happen for a season 2 after talking with us?
Yeah, the jury was out on season 2, whether I had hope. I was cautiously optimistic. And so I'm happy that my optimism worked and we're into season 2.
We appreciate that because, there's a lot of one-hit wonders in the land of podcasts. You go and look through the podcast search.
Well, I didn't think you'd make it. I didn't think you'd make it past the Chuck Stewart episode. I figured he'd say something that would just get you completely taken off the internet.
Let's say a little flim-flammery.
Yes, yeah.
Well, if we didn't pre-record, you probably are correct.
I was gonna say I bet I was gonna just recommend pre-recording that one.
So let's start there because Chuck is a great friend of the show, and you had the opportunity. You got to have a funny story of working with Chuck while he was in the replay booth.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, Chuck is such he's just a unique individual. There's so many, you guys know, being around officiating, you meet so many people. For me, Chuck Stewart was I was, 20 something years old when I first started doing replay for the NFL. And it was, okay, now I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be part of an officiating crew. And this is like a dream come true. And you're thinking NFL, this is the top of the top, the cream of the crop. And then you go to a clinic and Chuck Stewart's at the bar telling the worst stories ever, like the most I'm like, I don't know if I'm old enough to hear these stories. And it's like, you kind of see behind the scenes, you're like, oh, these are just normal people like everybody else. And, so Chuck he's been a great friend, and he's just one of those people that he didn't know me from anyone and still kind of took an interest in my career and helped me along the way. So I'll always have a special place in my heart for Chuck. Just a good person.
Absolutely.
I like how you said he's just a unique individual, which we
Definitely
all know.
If you get a text from Chuck and there's a picture I got to make sure I'm like looking at it a little like, okay, I don't want to be shocked right away. I'm going to like one eye and peek first. So that kind of thing. Not
open with caution. Open with caution.
Exactly.
And definitely don't be driving.
Yeah.
So, Dean, since the last time we talked, your final hot take for us was about the movie Friday and the next Friday.
Yeah, I'm still standing by that.
I took the time in the last few days preparing for this episode, and I watched both movies back to back with my children who are sophomores in high school now.
Okay.
You're wrong, Dean.
Oh, stop. I'm not saying Friday's bad. I love both movies. It's like, I don't know. It's like, for me, it's like regular pizza and Sicilian pizza. They're both great. I just happen to like regular pizza. It's just, I happen to like next Friday better than Friday, but they're both great. So,
what did your kids think, Monty?
They really only made it through the first one. The second one just didn't hold it.
What?
First of all, you watch the first one first. That's got to be. I know
that's how we watched it.
You got to watch them in separate days. You can't watch them. Who wants to sit there for 4 hours? Like I mean.
Okay, I'll give you. I
love Ice Cube, but 4 hours straight of Ice Cube, I don't know if we can really call that a fair.
He buys the test. I see what you're saying. He buys.
Okay,
right.
I'll give you that. But it was a total
break it up.
Ice Cube was really the only person that was in both of them, though. It was two
totally
separate movies.
You're right.
So before we leave the movies, has everybody watched the second Coming to America?
Oh yeah.
See, I haven't watched it yet because everybody told me don't waste your time. So I just haven't gotten around to it. The people that I trust said it wasn't very good. But I am going to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
You got to watch it, but you can't go in expecting it to be the first one. And that's where everybody.
That's the problem. Yeah, right. I know.
Well, the big thing on that is they shoved the whole first movie into the second movie. Like there's clips from both.
Oh,
movies.
do they?
Because it's been 100 years since that other one, so they basically had to retell the story within the story.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that movie that had no idea about the original Coming to America, no idea about the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it was interesting how they brought some of the characters back, but I just thought I wouldn't say it was a great movie, but I thought it was good to basically Eddie Murphy saying, I can make it because I want to just hang out with my friends. Absolutely. If you take the movie as that, it was good. A guy that can do it, and I just want to hang out with my friends one last time.
I thought.
So I don't know. Did we talk about this? Because I'm like Eddie Murphy. I'm like a fanboy from way back. Top 3 Eddie Murphy movies.
Raw number 1. It can't be a movie. It's Raw.
Well, not the stand up. Not the stand up.
Well, man, that trumps everything.
No, Raw and Delirious, I agree. But because I was watching Beverly Hills Cop the other day, and I was like, man, this is my favorite movie. And then I watched Trading Places.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this
Yeah.
is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Then 48 Hours. This is even The Golden Child. I'm like, this
The
is
Golden
great.
That was
Child.
still good.
I want the knife.
I want the knife.
Yes, but Life stacks up as one of his tops, I would say.
Really?
No,
I
Life
thought
is the best.
Life, I don't know
Life
about
number
the
one.
best.
Oh,
I don't know about
I
the
wouldn't say the
best.
best, but I would say top 3. And
I would
then
say as the most complete
Beverly Hills
story,
Cop
though.
1.
Life had the
Norbit?
most complete.
What about Norbit?
No. Norbit's kind of like Nutty Professor. Like, it's funny, but you're not putting it in the top movies.
Yeah, I would say Beverly Hills Cop, Life, and then after that, it's a toss-up.
It's Coming to America.
Yeah, Coming to America. Yeah. Yes.
See, I like Trading Places better than Coming to America, but they're both like, it's like 1A, 1B.
Absolutely.
As long as you didn't say, what is it? Vampire in Brooklyn. We all right.
No.
Never seen it.
I mean, there were some movies he just should have said no.
What was the Tree movie? What was that one? Where he couldn't. Where he was losing the leaves.
He was, because he was lying, right? He couldn't lie, or no, it was words. He only could talk so much, or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pluto Nash.
Oh yeah, no.
Pluto Nash. No.
See, Dean, you good. You led us to a direction we didn't expect to go.
See, there you go. I just wanted you to get off the next Friday thing.
So
Dean,
there you
go ahead.
So getting back to football, what has been, COVID season's kicked in. What has been the most challenging part of being the national coordinator of instant replay during this pandemic?
Well, I think it's just a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do in person has just been put on hold, and obviously there's much bigger things going on with COVID than just replay. But it's just, with a lot of the in-person clinics and being in the booth, giving people an opportunity to be in the booth and observe and watch that process, or be in a command center at one of the college conference offices. That's kind of been put on hold. What has been good is just our ability, like we're doing this on Zoom now, just the ability to do things via Zoom and virtually. And we've really kept up with our training. We've actually gotten more training in than we would have in the past, because we don't have to get on a plane or drive or go meet in person. We can just jump on a Zoom and talk and look at video, because that's what replay is, right? We're looking at video during the game, and that's what we do during these Zoom sessions. So there's obviously been some things that have been a negative, but there's been some positive as well. And I think going forward, we're going to see new ways of training that we kind of, came up during COVID.
But with this, do you think it can be a little overkill of the accessibility that we have now, that we're so open just to jump on Zoom and make a mandatory meeting?
No question. I mean, I think it's a balance like anything else. Like I think everybody is, I go back to when it just started with the internet and email. And because before then, not that I had a ton of experience in the workforce really before that, but it's like you're done for the weekend. That's it. Nobody's contacting you. You're not checking your email. So we've kind of gone down that path. And I do think we are going to see that now, where it's like, all right, Tuesday night, we're all going to jump on a Zoom and it's good, but we also have to maintain that balance. Like you said, it's because too much of anything except peanut M&Ms, too much of anything is not good. So
we had this conversation off. Are you considering those peanut M&Ms protein?
Yeah, they're protein, no question.
So
I mean, nuts are protein.
Do they have meat? Do they have meat in them?
No. That's not an animal protein. No,
Exactly. Also, I did try the peanut M&Ms, and they almost as good as the peanut M&M. Almost.
Which
the peanut butter?
You just said you tried the peanut M&M, and
My bad. The peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter. Almost. I agree. Almost, but not quite. Yeah,
so
I agree.
almost.
How about the almonds?
No, don't even stop. No. It's like talking about almonds, and they start getting crazy with like fudge and stuff. I'm like, no. peanut butter. That's cool. I don't even like the regular ones, but those two are good.
Yeah.
So how many tubs do you go through on a Sunday watching?
It's interesting because I'm very like particular. I've got a theory. Nobody at Mars Candy Company has confirmed this theory, but to me, the bigger the package, the better the M&M. So that's a definite thing. Like if you have the small packages, they're not as good. The big packages, especially like the vacuum sealed, bigger plastic packages are good. The jugs are not as good as the plastic packages. So, I mean, I may go through a family size on a Sunday by myself. That's not family of one.
I disagree with you with the tub. That's my preferred method of eating.
Is the tub? Yeah, I'm not. I feel like the tub. It makes me. It would make me feel worse about myself because I'd eat the whole tub. I look at
it as the bigger the package, the more room for the magic.
Now that's more of like the Chuck Stewart interview. So
right.
That's something Chuck would say, but
that comes from the man that drinks Gentleman Jack still. So sorry, everybody.
Cheers.
And
everybody.
I found putting a tub in the refrigerator, having them slightly chill helps too.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm a non-room temp M&M guy.
Really? I see. I'm room temp, but I understand the putting it in the fridge, like the chocolate in the fridge. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, because it allows me to pace myself.
That's true.
Since we last talked, you were talking about trying to get college football to kind of steer the replay a little closer to more what the NFL does as far as the opportunity to stop in games, challenges. Do you see us in the future at the NCAA level moving closer to that?
Yeah, I think so. We had some long discussions during our rules committee meetings and competition committee meetings just about that point. Replay reviews per game keep going up in college football. It was in the fall season 2.5 per game, which was up from just over 2 last year. And even in the bigger conferences like your Autonomy 5, your Big 10, Pac-12, all that, it's even higher, like 2.7, 2.8. So the more reviews we have during the game, the more we interrupt the flow of the game. And I really do think that we have to try to figure out a way to limit those stoppages. And one of the ways, and that's what the NFL did, is make it a coach's challenge system. So I think you could see that. I know the coaches aren't necessarily in favor of that, but ultimately, if we keep going up with number of stoppages in the college game, it's what, 3 hours, almost 3.5 hours per game across the board. I think we're going to have to look at ways to kind of reduce that number, that overall length, and make it flow better. So I think that's definitely something that we may see in the future.
Now, since you guys do a lot of tracking of how many stoppages it is per app, do we have a stat on how many of those are actually reversed?
Yeah, so we're reversing 41%. Last year, the fall season, 41% of all reviews were reversed. So that's slightly up, and that number continues to go up just because, again, you think of the technology, the video's getting better, the quality's getting better, we're getting more looks. So, when replay first came into college football, it was probably 20-25% overturns. Now we're 40%, 41%. So I think that number, I don't think it's going to go down anytime soon.
So I've had a chance to see your process. Does your process, since it's pretty repeatable and pretty comforting, does the process that you implemented help in making things be correct and more succinct and efficient?
I think so. I think the goal is consistency. And so that's why we kind of created a process that you can follow. Like you said, it's repeatable. You can follow it play by play by play. And we're not changing a bunch of things. So if you get into that flow, and it really just consists of, a pre-snap, pre-kick routine where you're establishing the game situation, keying off a couple of things, and then during the play, clearing different layers of the play. And then after the play, you kind of go through, okay, what's the ruling on the field? What's reviewable? Is this a significant play? Make a decision. And then you just do it over and over. So we feel like that process will help us be more consistent. It'll help us be more efficient, and ultimately, we'll be more accurate. So that's kind of the goal in all those areas. And we feel like the process, something that people can follow, is going to help us to that end.
Perfect.
Now, I know we talked about it before. In your mind, is there a timeline of how long the replay should last, number one, and then also a timeline of before you stop the game? I know sometimes it's just a fan, or even me being on the field, it's sometimes frustrating because they stop a game on something that's clearly not going to be reversed, in our opinion, but yet they feel like they're in a rush, or is this stop the game so we can look at it when, now you done broke the momentum of the game away.
Yeah, well, in your conference, Cravon, we just tell the officials if it's your call, chances are it's going to get overturned. So stop it. And you got an 80% chance. Got an 80% chance.
Maybe right.
But no, it's so a couple of things. You bring up a couple of good points. Like, we don't want our replay officials to stop the game too many times. And so that's why you have to go through, we talk about smoke, right? What is there an indication that there's a problem? Because you may not be able to confirm the call 100%. Maybe we lose the football for a second, but is there any indication, any kind of, does the receiver bobble the ball? Is any of the defensive players reacting? Because you could stop the game a lot of times and you're not going to change the call in the field. So we definitely work on that. And then once we get into the review, on average last year, it's about 1 minute and 28 seconds. We'd like to stay, below that number. We certainly don't want to go 2 minutes is kind of a cutoff for us. We understand that there are some reviews that maybe at the end of the game, overtime, whatever it may be, you might take a little longer, but we want to keep it, under 1.5 minutes and make sure the replay officials have that kind of internal clock, because there is no official time limit like there is in the NFL. And so the replay official has to be able to know when to cut it off and keep it moving.
So as far as technology wise, has there been any other major upgrades since like the quad system came in? Because I know that was a big deal, the quad system. Has there been any other major upgrades to the replay systems that's available to most, let's say, Power 5 conferences?
Yeah, I think that system has been it's kind of this network independent system, whereas replay has always been you're just using whatever TV has and whatever angles they show everybody at home, the replay official has access to and can run it back and forth. The quad system allows you to get 3 additional angles immediately, so 3 separate camera angles. And I think what we're going to see, and I know a lot of the bigger conferences are going now, it's program feed plus 3 angles. They're going to 8, potentially 12 angles that you could have immediately. And so that would really take the pressure off of the television truck to show those angles. And then it puts more pressure on replay to kind of find the right angle and use it to make a decision. So I think that's probably the biggest change in the last couple of years. I think we're just going to continue to see better angles, better quality. We see now the pylon cameras. We see the line of game camera. Those types of things I think are going to continue to help replay, just more looks. And I think that's all going to, be a positive for the system.
All right. So my question is, I know the big boys, they have all that technology. So what you're saying, like, as far as the spring football, you're limited to what they have at the stadium. So how are you encouraging those replay officials to either stay in the game or just work with what you got to probably make the situation better?
I mean, that it's like college football is so different from the NFL, where everything at the NFL level is kind of an even playing field, where college football, right, even within Division I, it's different, right? Different camera packages, less cameras in certain conferences. So in a lot of ways, the conferences that don't have a lot of camera angles, it's easier because you got 4 looks. You can cycle through those 4 looks and make a decision. And if you're not going to change it based on those 4 looks, you don't even have to stop the game. So again, I think it makes it easier to some degree. You got to make sure you look at the angles you have available to you. And I think the biggest challenge is those replay officials, they want to make a decision. They want to be definitive. And sometimes you just can't. You just don't have the right angle, and you have to move on and let the ruling on the field stand. And that's just part of that training process. And it's different for, ESPN Saturday night, Alabama and LSU, or, the smaller conferences playing in the spring, and there's, maybe 3 or 4 in-house cameras.
So you're talking about that process and that training of officials. How have you been with building your database of officials to transition?
Yeah, we've really started to build a pretty extensive database of officials and people, whether they're on-field officials that are interested in replay and coming off the field at some point, or people who are working in the replay booth, maybe in a different capacity, maybe it's a replay technician, people from just around the country that have shown an interest. We're looking for a skill set, right? We can teach you replay rules, we can teach you the mechanics and the process, but we're looking for that skill set. Are you analytical? Can you work through that process? Can you manage multiple inputs? Are you a good communicator? And so, I have Zoom calls every 2 weeks with a group of people from around the country, and we go through replay and plays and have good conversations. And it's now we're up to like over 100 people. And so the goal is to train these people up and make them available to the conferences. And when they do have openings on their replay staffs, to pull from this group. And we feel like we've got a really good group of people from different backgrounds. And it's pretty cool to see that develop.
Do you feel that we will always need kind of a balance, though, of people that have at some point been on the field in the booth?
Yeah, I do. I think being on the field, there's things that you learn that are going to help you in the replay booth, and there's things that you really can't teach. It's that, just the fact that you're not intimidated being out on the football field, and you have that basic football IQ and officiating IQ, and you're able to make decisions in high pressure situations. So those are things that you're going to get from being on the field. So you're definitely going to have that. But I think we're just kind of looking outside the box a little bit, that you don't necessarily have to have an on-field background or an extensive on-field background to be successful in the replay booth. So I think it's a balance like anything else. But there are really good on-field officials that haven't been able to transition to the replay booth, and some that have. And I think that's just part of it.
So there is hope for that Pop Warner All-Star.
That'd be me. That'd be me.
I was surprised, Monty. We made it almost 20 minutes in before you applied for a job again. Good job.
Hey, I'm learning. I'm learning.
He sent me an email before I came on. Don't worry.
He's been chiming in about what Dean does every 2 weeks. So he been baiting the question.
He knows how to do it. That's all. Because that gets back to me like, oh, Monty's talking about you, talking you up. I'm like, gotta get him a job.
That's right. I'm trying to get in that database.
Right.
Dean, what are you most looking forward to post-pandemic football wise?
I'm looking forward to like full stadiums and that energy and that crowd. It was interesting because watching football in the fall, it was almost like you forgot about the whole element of the crowd, right? The games went on and the football was still good, but you just kind of, we forget the energy and just the excitement that full stadium brings. So for me, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to when we can get together in person, because there's things we can do virtually. But I think in person, there's a connection there that is deeper than just us looking at a computer screen. So again, I think we can do both. But I'm really looking forward to seeing full stadiums for sure.
If I remember right, I remember Bill Belichick when it first started and they were playing games. He said, I believe it was a reporter asked him, so how does it feel, playing with no fans? And he said, it's practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it was. It's
definitely different. And it was interesting just to see, the NFL hasn't had, like, home field hasn't been as dramatic as, say, the NBA, where home teams win more. But last year, visiting teams won more than home teams. I mean, that's pretty big. So it definitely had an impact.
Yeah, it definitely had a different feel. I had the opportunity to work a handful of games in the fall, and you just didn't get those butterflies in your stomach, right before kickoff, because you just don't have that, 45, 50, 90,000, people sitting there, after tailgating for 2-3 hours in some places with that energy, and you just didn't get it. And now all of a sudden you're kicking the ball off, and it was like a glorified practice. That's just what it felt like. Not saying the players was going out there and, doing their thing, but just the energy from it is just like you're showing up on campus for practice.
Oh no, it was, I got an opportunity to work in the spring, and it was different being able to hear the opposing team sideline and having to remind them, like, coach, the language that you speak carries in the stands now.
So you was mad. You was mad at the coach on the other sideline yelling at you. And you
they was cussing, right? And you like, hey man, there's somebody grandma in the stands. Like, hey, they hear you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be like, without the fanfare, you don't hear all people not able to hear what the coaches say.
Yeah,
and all that.
It's definitely a different deal, no question.
And it was unique.
As a, I know you're not a supervisor currently right now, but as a supervisor, do you think, because of COVID, a lot of the conferences started assigning alternate officials that, in the past they hadn't? Do you think that's something that we should keep going with, to have an alternate official at the game ready to go?
Yeah, I do. I think, and a lot of times it's just whether it's budgets or just, personnel, but I think it just makes sense to have an alternate, especially now. I mean, who knows when we're going to fully be beyond COVID, and I think it's still going to go through the 2021 season to some degree. And I think it does make sense to have an alternate. And because look, officials, besides COVID, officials get hurt, and you got to go to, whether it's 7, if you're working 8, or you got to go to 6 if you're working 7. So I think if you can, and you have the resources to have that alternate official, I do think that makes sense. We always talk about that at the NFL. We just didn't have the bodies when you have 16 games on a weekend to do that. But certainly in the postseason, the NFL has alternates, and that's because you have less games.
But when we talk about the NFL, we don't have to be concerned with resources, right?
No,
we have to be concerned with budget, but not resources. But even for them, it's, you can hire more individuals, right? And of course, the owners don't want to, I shouldn't say the owners, it's all about making money. Let's not be foolish, but I think especially.
Yeah, you could certainly have an entire, another 17, 18 officials that could be an alternate crew or whatever it may be. So again, it's things that we had talked about. You also want to make sure that you have officials working every week. You wouldn't want officials sitting on the sideline just every week not working. So
right.
It's just kind of figuring it out, what's the best way to do that.
So Dean, I did a little bit of research on you. Where did this love of Detroit come from, since you're from
Detroit,
the East Coast?
So okay. So this goes back. The Lions were playing the Falcons in 2017, and it was my first year at Fox Sports, and I was doing the game, and there was a call at the end of the game. Lions were down. Golden Tate catches a pass, ruled a touchdown on the field, and that was the go-ahead touchdown with like 8 seconds left. And they stopped the game to review it, and the Lions were out of timeouts to review it, and his knee's down short of the goal line. So they asked me what I thought, and I said, well, yeah, look, you can see his knee down, the ball is short. And oh, by the way, by rule, that's a 10-second runoff. The game is over. Lions are going to lose. And and I remember it was Chris Myers and somebody else, and they didn't even believe me that was the rule. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the rule. Just wait.
Just wait.
And Walt Coleman came out. He was the referee, and he announced it. And it was like, so the city of Detroit had already been upset with me about the playoff game against the Cowboys, where we picked up a flag for pass interference and we shouldn't have. And then I'm not even in the league office, and they blame me for this call and this rule, them losing the game to the Falcons. So I did like a joke. We do a show, Mike Pereira and I, on Mondays during the season called Last Call. And I did a segment kind of trying to make up with Detroit. And I just said all the things that I love about Detroit. And it was like, Detroit actually has the second biggest Broadway system behind New York.
Did not know that.
Wow. Oh yeah. So all, Motown, like all these cool things. And I made a couple tongue in cheek, like, there's more bowlers in Detroit than any other city. But I said, they have the oldest ginger ale company in the world. And I said Vernon's, and it's actually Verner's. Oh. And I got like killed by people from Detroit. So it's kind of just been an ongoing thing. So I just said, look, I'm going all in. Just embraced it, huh? I'm going all in on Detroit. I'm going to get a Lions hat and a Tigers hat and a Red Wings, and I'm just gonna go all in. So that's how it.
Don't forget those Pistons.
The Bad Boys. That was one of my teams back in the day. Like, I was a Knicks fan, so I hated Jordan. I hated the Bulls.
What?
So don't even bring it up. I will not watch The Last Dance. I'm not going to curse you and get me fired up.
It's been out for a year.
I'm not watching that. Nope, not going to do it because it brings up bad memories. And
the Knicks just sucked.
No. Okay, first of all, we're talking about the Bad Boys, and if you look at Isaiah Thomas's record against Michael Jordan, just Google that, and we're done. Okay, we're done there. I don't want to talk about Michael Jordan anymore. Don't want to talk about it.
Hold up, you're not gonna say drop that, but Jordan won it when it count. The one where they walk. The one he ended that era.
The one time they
all it takes is one
Pistons,
time.
And the Pistons like, you know what? You're not even going to get the satisfaction. We're just going to walk off.
I like that. I don't complain about that. To me, I respect that. Like, okay, you beat me. I'm not shaking your hand. But
all I know is in '92 when the Knicks went up 2-0, and then John Starks lost his head and tried to headbutt a bunch of people, and then Charles Smith in Game 5 got fouled 8 times. I know he should have dunked it, but he got fouled like 8 times. They didn't call it. Bulls won that game. Bulls won the series. That was our year.
My best playoff moment was when the year Jordan wasn't in, and Scottie Pippen had the best playoff dunk ever.
Don't talk about my man Patrick Ewing. I'll end the interview right now.
That was rough. That was rough.
Hey, they won't even let him in the building. They won't even let him in the building anymore.
Hey, I think Houston loves Patrick Ewing more than you.
Stop. No, Houston loves John Starks for going 2 for whatever and 18 in that game.
So
and then I'm watching the game. And I gotta watch
he's
OJ.
hot now. He's hot now.
I gotta watch the OJ chase in the middle of.
Yeah, I remember the OJ
chase. I was like, wait a minute, they're gonna cut away from something good. Better happen when he pulls in that driveway because I'm missing Game 6.
Yeah, the ending was a letdown of previous LA police chases.
That was the worst.
So is your hatred of Reggie Miller the same as it is for Jordan?
Ooh, it's close. Every time now he did those Wendy's commercials during the NCAA tournament.
Right.
But here's what I appreciate about Reggie is I think Reggie hated Jordan as much as maybe I do. So we have that in common. I've never met him, and I don't know if I can forgive him. I know he's a big Knicks fan, but I still blame Spike Lee for all the Reggie Miller nonsense. I was like, just sit down and shut up and stop egging this man on.
Right.
Like, stop. He's killing us, and you're not helping. Right. So stop. But
Sharpshooter.
As a Knicks fan, as we talk right now, the Knicks are actually in
Knicks
the
won
playoff
6 in a row. They won again today. They beat the Pelicans today, by the way, in overtime in a playoff spot.
Because Knicks fans and Raider fans kind of go down the same road. Once you're over 500, you're winning a championship. So
no, we're not winning a championship, but I like all we needed to show is that we can be competitive and free agents will come. We're building a team. Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, free agents will come. We might get Giannis in 2 years. Who knows?
I don't know. I haven't seen a free agent signed up for Thibodeau.
Hold on.
Because Thibodeau is too much like 1980s.
He does run him into the ground. He's not yeah. But I'm still it's New York City though. You can't that alone is a big draw.
For Brooklyn.
So first of all, Brooklyn, it's been 5 minutes. Who else have they signed? They signed somebody else?
Yes.
Man.
Well, KD got hurt again today. KD hurt his quad. That team.
Right.
Here's hot take Friday. The Nets will not win a championship with that with that team. You heard it here first.
Agreed.
Oh man,
I
do want to see them in those finals though. That's going to be great.
But they will not.
They won't even make the finals.
Between Harden and Kyrie, and I like KD, but he's fragile. Nope, not going to happen. They don't play defense. Nope.
Not only is he fragile physically,
don't
mess with him on social media.
Oh my God,
he's fragile there.
Michael Rappaport, what is that about?
So Michael Rappaport was in Friday, the next Friday. He was the mailman.
He was the mailman.
Bring it all back, baby. Bring it all back.
He was.
That's right. He was. He had a short. He was a cameo. And he's like, hell yeah, He didn't believe he could be in that house. He's like, you play for who do you? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So Dean, with that, why are they under such scrutiny about what teams they like and everything before they get to become officials?
Because of this rant he had about the Knicks.
But
we want an official passionate.
We all grew
passionate
up loving
about
sports. We all grew up loving competition. Why do officials get such scrutiny on their pre-officiating stances?
I just think it's a lot of it is perception. Obviously, you guys know that when you're working a game, it's like that all that stuff goes out the window because you're being evaluated. Your career is, more important to you than a team fan, being a fan of a certain team. But it is a lot of perception. Officials are under such scrutiny. You've had situations, right? The Tim Donaghy situation. You just had an NHL official make a comment that was heard on a hot mic.
That's right.
Which wasn't even, when you think about it, that comment taken on its own seems bad, but it's really, and you guys know, it's not that bad. If that team, I think it was Nashville, if they have a penchant for fouling and clutching and grabbing, maybe they just wanted to nip it in the bud early. But you can't say that, but it's just one of those things. So I think it's just a perception, and you have to be free of any type of, you got to be above that whole, reproach. And I think that's just part of it. And you all know that, like you guys, like when you go into officiating, you understand that, right? You understand that that's part of the deal.
I don't think the fans know
social
that.
media has only made it even tougher because, the ultimate critics is just
a million times tougher.
But even at all levels, from Pop Warner to whatever level you at, even when you walk on the field, there's always a statement. They already been paid. Like, there's no amount of money that would make me jeopardize my integrity to just throw a game for you, kid. And especially when you get it from players like, hey man, calm down. Oh, they got paid already. Like, oh, so.
And that's just silly. That's just silliness that I think they hear. And unfortunately, though they hear it at the highest level, they hear people say that on an NFL broadcast or a coach say that in a press conference. And it kind of trickles down. And unfortunately, it's just part of the deal. Because officials have the most integrity. Like our officials, when I was at the NFL, right, our officials never got in trouble. It was very rare where we had any issues with our officials. When players and coaches, I know there's more of them, but they're getting into all kinds of stuff. So, but it's just, you're held to a higher standard. That's just kind of how it is.
Well,
that's what I think they get.
I even love it at the high school level. If you don't, you won't have any officials if you don't have people who officiated and played at the same schools that they're officiating at. There's just not enough people. That's
it. That's it. The shortage. And again, we've created an environment across the board that is not conducive to getting people in and retaining them, right? Because as somebody younger,
who wants to do this?
Exactly. A younger person that has a bad experience, like I'm getting yelled at and verbally abused by adults. And I'm not going to go back out there and do that again. And unfortunately, that happens too often.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, Dean,
speaking of that, before we move on real quick, two things. When we talk about a young person getting into it, the professional levels, those officials get compensated very, very well. Not saying they can't get more, but college, lower levels, do you feel officials are getting compensated for all what they have to put in now?
Before you answer that, Dean, I'm just going to let you know, Craybon, you just took my under review first question, man.
That wasn't an under review question.
It sure was. Dang it.
Oh,
all right.
All right,
go ahead, Dean.
We'll come.
It's so
Go ahead.
It's so be smoke. We got smoke, Dean.
We got smoke.
We got smoke.
You got smoke.
After further review,
Right.
We got
Draymond getting overturned again.
Right. All right. So that's a good one. So my bad, Monty. But
go ahead.
Let me ask a different question that we did, because we were talking about, our pregame with the show again before you came on, and me and Ashanti, we felt we missed out on the opportunity to ask you a question the last time we talked. You grew up in New York, but now all of a sudden you're working for the NFL. You're young, making money, living in Manhattan. How was that?
I mean, I always tell people that if you have an opportunity to live in New York City before you get in a relationship or have kids or whatever it is, do it. It's such an amazing place, unique place, where everything is there. It's so accessible. You meet people from all over the world. There's, food, nightlife, everything, whatever you're into, you can walk like 10 blocks and be into something completely different. And so it was a lot of fun. I had a great time living in New York. I was lucky enough to have friends that lived in New York City, and I definitely recommend that for anybody that wants to experience something pretty cool. And hopefully, I haven't been back since COVID. So hopefully I know a lot of people that I know that live there said that it's much, it's different. It's quieter. There's obviously not as much going on, but hopefully that, it goes back to what it was, because it's such a fantastic place. I definitely miss going there.
I got another one. So in your short-lived stand-up career, did you get booed?
Yeah, I didn't tell you this story the last time. So I got heckled one time, and I'd done it for a while, and I did pretty well. Like, it wasn't a career path for me, but I was able to make people laugh. And then I was at this one show that my friend, he did a comedy show like every week at this one club, and he booked me, got me in, and this guy just started heckling me just because, and I didn't have any heckle material. I was like, wait, what is he talking to me? Like, what is going on? And I just he got me. Like, I didn't have anything to come back on. And I just kind of like fumbled through the rest of my set. And I reverted back to like my younger, less mature days. And I walked right off stage and tried to beat the crap out of him. Like,
you didn't have any Bill Burr moment where you just kind of took hold of
nothing. I was just like, I'm going to kill you. And like the bouncers got involved, and I was like apologizing to my friend after, but I didn't have anything. So after that, I worked on some heckling material, but it never came up again. So not every joke, different audiences, not every joke works. And it's a lonely feeling when you think you got something funny and it's just silence. You're like, okay, this is great. You feel, you want to just what are those old Snickers commercials when they're like, you want to just get away? Like that's what you just want to get away.
The Southwest commercial.
Hear those crickets.
Southwest commercials. Yeah, just want to get away.
Wow. Okay.
All
so
right,
you never
Monty,
tried to do an open mic
under review.
Hold up. So you never tried to do an open mic in LA to go out to revive?
No, I haven't been. Like I said, I stopped doing the comedy thing a while ago, and
you got the future. You said next Friday was a classic. So
I heard they're making
you got
the third, the fifth, the fourth.
Oh, is that sarcasm? Is that what that is?
See, you working on your heckling.
I like Mike Epps. Mike Epps is funny. He's in next Friday. He made me laugh. So I don't know. I liked it.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you on the under review there, Dean. Let's see. All right, Dean. I'm gonna ask you just a couple questions. Okay, Dean. Under review. Do you think college officials are compensated fairly, Dean?
What is that sound effect? The under review sound effect?
Oh yeah, you got to have a
What is-
stopwatch.
That,
You're on the
that's
clock.
supposed to be a stopwatch?
You're on the clock. Yeah.
It sounds like the construction zone. Like, wait, you need a better stopwatch.
Hey, I'm a football official, Dean. Hey,
All right.
hey.
Everything's digital now anyway. Do I think they're compensated fairly across the board? No, I think at the major college level, in terms of the Autonomy 5, the Power 5 conferences, I think they're compensated well at that level. But when you look at Division II, Division III officials, at the lower levels, when it's costing officials money to work, right? You're not making anything. So I think the equity across the board is not there. And I know, again, and that's part of the issue with college football, when you have different conferences and different levels and different budgets and more resources, less resources. So I don't know how to remedy that necessarily. So I think once you get to a certain point, you're compensated well, but getting there is a struggle. And there's definitely lower level college conference, officials that don't make anything, and they do it because they, all officials do it because they love it, but it'd be nice to be compensated as well.
Right.
Sure.
Especially because as you try to move up, you almost are mandated to go to camps and, have added expenses to it that you're not compensated for either. So
No question.
Couple grand to count. Absolutely. That went your whole year's checks. All right. Dean, what historic game do you wish you were part of?
Turn the clock off.
Alexa, volume down. Alexa, volume down.
This the first guest that disrespected the under review question, Monty. I think you want to tighten your game up, Monty. What are you saying?
Just saying. And you want to be a replay official, Monty. Okay.
Man, I've asked for a shuttle. I can't get a shuttle.
Could you imagine being in the replay booth and having that noise? Like
that 60-minute clock time on.
I can't make it. I can't even hear myself think.
Wow.
Good, Monty. We're just come on.
What
Don't play the clock, man.
game do you wish you were a part of?
What historic game?
Yes.
Do I wish I was a part of?
Any sport,
Probably,
it doesn't matter.
Any sport.
Sure.
Houston, when Patrick Ewing was finger rolling, that finger roll, you wanted to go in.
Missed it. I know. I think I would have loved to have been a part of the Giants Super Bowl against the Bills, the wide right game. Like just that. I remember just watching it on TV and it was incredible. But to be a part of that and to be there, I think that would have been awesome.
All right. Final question, Dean.
Oh man, you're gonna put the time on.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Dean.
Hey, Monty, you're not showing the guy that you're trying to get on his database that you learn quickly. You're supposed to be able to adjust.
I appreciate but you're also
there is
showing
structure.
You're sticking to your thing. You're like, no, you know what? God damn it, this is my thing. I'm not going to let him.
There's a process, right, Dean? You got it.
Yeah,
There's got to have a process.
That's your process. You need to revamp your process before I come on next. But that's
you got it. You got it. Absolutely. All right, Dean. You've been on Cameo. What's been the favorite cameo you've done?
Oh my God. So I love doing cameos. I don't know if it was my favorite one, but it was definitely the funniest one. This guy sent me a cameo request. He was getting back together with his wife, and he wanted me to do a cameo that after further review, the ruling on the field of cheating had been overturned.
Oh.
Yeah, he wanted me, and I was like,
wow.
Okay, I'm not doing that. So
there's no video.
Who's cheating, his or hers?
His. So I was like, I'm not doing that. But I did do the cameo, but I just changed it to say the ruling on the field of the breakup has been overturned. So I didn't get into the specifics of him, sleeping with whoever. I just didn't. That was definitely the most interesting one. But yeah, that's fun. It's a good way to connect with people, and I always like doing those.
Awesome. Well, Dean, we got to thank you. Season 2, one of our favorite guests. I will revamp my process.
Yes. I want to see season 3. And with that, I don't know about it. We're making season 3 with that stopwatch.
I appreciate it. Dean Blandino, Mike Pereira, last call, Fox NFL Sports Network. Just thank you. We made it through a season. Thank you, Dean.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Dean. We really appreciate it. Welcome back anytime.
Stay tuned for the next episode. We have Pac-12 umpire Matt Jordan.
If you learn how to officiate, you will never be unemployed. That's the one thing he told me. He said, there is always going to be a lead.
Matt has some words of wisdom about the company that you keep.
The people who are going to tell you the truth are the people you need to get with on the regular.
Be on the lookout for future episodes like 5-time Super Bowl football official, Mr. Al Jury.
No, that was that coach with Buffalo was on him about something. He come back later and apologize to Chuck. Kurt Dorner come over there and try to back judge, still judge, try to come over and change me and Chuck's mind on the call. And we told him, man, go fish in your own pond. Don't be coming over here fishing in our pond. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Remember to please like and subscribe, as the Unofficial Lounge is available on all your podcast streaming outlets, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. We look forward to you joining us next time in the Unofficial Lounge.